Hey, this is Matthew with Christian America Ministries, and I want to do a video on Bible software, at least the Bible software that I use. A few weeks ago, when I did a radio broadcast on the subject of Bible study techniques, and I talked about taking notes and wide margin Bibles, had a few people interested in what Bible software that I use, and wanted to kind of go over it. There's lots of different Bible softwares and Bible study websites out there, and I'm just going to show you a few that I use. There are better ones out there, I'm sure, or different ones. I don't know if they're better, but I want to show you what I do. I do know that there's Bible software out there, Bible study software that has more features than what I'm going to show you, like Logos Bible software. That's a really popular one, but they often, like Logos, require a monthly subscription. I did try Logos, a free trial a year or so ago. I really liked it. It had a lot of really neat features, but I didn't want to pay the monthly subscription because eSword here, which is what I'm going to show you here, was free, and it had a lot of the things that I used anyway, and everything else that I needed I could get elsewhere on a website free of charge. So I want to show you here. This is eSword. It's a free software. You can just search eSword on Google, download it on your computer. It's yours. There's no monthly subscription. There's no updates. It's there. And you can have it on your computer. If you don't have any internet, it doesn't matter. And it's there available. And you can also download, I forget how many translations it has of the Bible when you first download it. I think two or three. But you can come up here to the download page, and then you can click on that, and you can download all kinds of different translations free of charge. And then down here they have some that you can buy, and like some of your licensed translations, like the Legacy Standard Bible, New American Standard, things of that nature. And even they have commentaries, which we'll get to that here in a minute, dictionaries and graphics and all of that. But what I want to focus on here is some of the tools when you're studying the Bible. So you see here I have John chapter 1, verse 1 pulled up. And as you can see here, we have the chapters right here. And you can move all these around and customize it. And then let's say I wanted to go to John chapter 20, verse 1. You click on it, and there you go. You can go down. And I have the King James Version right here. So we can go back to chapter 1, verse 1. So let's say that I want to see what Greek word is rendered as word here, right here. And what I have to do is I can go over here to the King James Plus. Now what the King James Plus is, it has the Strong's numbers next to each word, and it gives you the lookup for the word. So you can even pan over it. So there's the Strong's Concordance number. You go over top of it, and it gives you the definition of it right there. And it says in the King James Bible, it has a 330 occurrences. And I can click on that, and then I can go over here to my dictionaries, and I have all my different dictionaries here and lexicons, and I can look up everywhere in the Bible that this word appears, which is quite a bit. And that right there is the King James Concordance, so just your old-fashioned King James Concordance. If I wanted to use the Strong's, there's the Strong's lookup. I have Thayer's Greek Lexicon. I have, and some of these, they're not connected. Brown Driver Briggs, that's more Hebrew. Some of them, like Nave Study Bible, you'll have some notes. If it doesn't have a note or anything for that verse or that word, it won't mention it. Same thing with Schofield or any of that, but you can download them all free of charge and look them up and have them available. And you can pin them over here if you want, and do it that way. And you also have a note-taking section, which I really don't use. I'd rather do hand notes there, but you can do notes here and keep them and have them pinned up over here. And then you have up here King James Plus, and then you have all your different translations that you can use. So let's say you're over here in John, actually no, let's go back to Genesis 1:1. Let's say you're in Genesis 1:1, and you want to see, hey, what does it say in the Brenton Septuagint? You can go down here and you can see how it's rendered in the Septuagint versus the Masoretic. Let's say that you wanted to do a parallel side by side. You can go up here and hit parallel and set the translations, and you can go through the Bible parallel to another translation. So I have right here, I have King James, Brenton, Charles Thompson Septuagint. You have the ESV over here. the Bishop's Bible, the Geneva. Unfortunately, it is the 1587 Geneva. I wish it was the 1599 because it's got some old English there. As you can see here, heaven has a U there instead of a V. And you can download all these different translations depending on what they have available up here at the download bar. Free of charge. There's also an external website too that you can download translations that people have formatted for eSword and go through that. You can also highlight like I have here. I can't even remember why I was highlighting that, but in the King James, and you can go from translation to translation, so it'll save your highlights. I also have the Apostolic Bible Polyglot here. That's a very useful Septuagint translation because it has the Strong's numbers for the Greek. So you can look that up and, like for example, click on, let's see here, Theos there for God. Click on that one here and we'll go to dictionaries, and there it is. Gives you all the different occurrences here if you want to go to the King James. Very handy. You can go through that. So also you can do the King James 1611, which will also have the Apocrypha over here. If you're interested in looking at that, that will be included there. And that'll also allow you to do a word search here in either the King James or the Apocrypha or whatever. And no matter what translation you have here, you can do a search there. So let's go back over the King James and I'll show you what I mean there. So let's see, let's type in God, for example, and set it for King James. Search for all of the words there, and you can do different parts of the Bible. We're going to do the whole Bible, and then we're going to hit enter. And since God appears a bunch, it's going to take a second, and then there you go. You have all the instances where the English word God has appeared. The only thing I wish this did have, which software like Logos has, is where you can search the Greek or Hebrew occurrences in eSword, which here in a minute I'll show you what I do when I do that. It does not have a function that does that, and I really hate that. I really wish that I could, search Logos and it give me more detailed searches. Now it does, I can go over to like John 1:1 and use the lexicon over here. And let me show you here. Click on that, Logos, and then it gives me the occurrences in that way, just not in a search function. Okay, let's see here. So you have that. You can search. Over here you have your commentaries, which are pretty useful. I'll reference some commentaries when I'm doing Bible studies and preparing for sermons, just to see what other people, other scholars, other theologians have said about a certain passage. It's very interesting, especially the older ones, to see how John Gill thought of this passage, or Albert Barnes, or Adam Clark, or the Geneva notes. You got the Geneva commentary notes, and so forth. Very useful. You got Bullinger, Eliot, and you can see Matthew Henry. You even have the King James notes, which there isn't very many of those because the King James didn't have very many footnotes. Matthew Poole. And you can read their commentaries, and it's very interesting on some passages how one of them will have a thought on an entire, a verse or a passage, and it sounds pretty solid. And you'll come over here and read another guy's commentary, like here's John Calvin, and his thought will be completely different, and may even give you a different perspective, or they both may be wrong. In many cases, I'll disagree with both of them, and then you'll have another thought that is interesting. So it's interesting to see what other men of studying God's Word, what conclusions they've come to, and how they've come to them, and their thoughts on a certain passage, and whether or not they brought tradition into their interpretation. That's sometimes the case, depending on the commentary. For example, John Gill, he'll have a good thing to say every now and then on certain passages. And I shouldn't say every now and then, quite a bit. But I have noticed in his commentaries, he's heavily influenced by Jewish rabbis and the Talmud, or some of the Targums and things of that nature. So you'll see that, like in his work, he's influenced by the Jewish rabbis in many of his interpretations. He'll even quote many of them. which is interesting. So I'll read an interpretation of him, and sometimes he'll go into quoting basically, uh, Judaism writings and rabbis, and so I don't take a lot of what he says that don't give it much credit because he's heavily influenced, and well, just call it what it is, another religion. Um, Adam Clark, he's a decent commenter. Albert Barnes, Joseph Benson, they all have some good things to say. It just depends on the subject. You can glean some things from them. I'm not a guy that takes a passage and just reads the commentary and get my opinion there that way. I mean, I'll try to glean some of their references and things of that nature. Maybe they did some legwork and bring out a thought that I never even thought before. Sometimes the commentaries are a good place to find where they've referenced another scripture that it's connected with, especially in the New Testament, where it's saying, well, this is connected with this Old Testament passage here. And you also have a cross reference system up here. So, for example, when you click John 1:1, you'll have some cross references here to other verses, which is handy. So, if I wanted to do a word search on, let's say, a Greek or a Hebrew word, what I'll do is I use Blue Letter Bible. And this is the website that I probably use the most other than eSword. So, for example, go to John 1:1, click on John 1, and it gives me the Textus Receptus translation with the Greek and the Hebrew, the Greek and the English. English here, Greek here, and then it gives me the Strong's numbers. And then if I even want, let's say, I don't know how to pronounce a word, so I can click on this.
Strong's G 3056. Logos. Logos.
And it will give me the pronunciation of that word. Now, I don't know if you heard that. I heard it in my headphones, but it will give you, a guy will speak and speak it out for you. And then you can look here and you can get, if it's a noun, nominative, singular, masculine word, and so forth, and you can look all that up. So let's say that you wanted to, for example, click on this Greek word, logos here, and it is Strong's 3056, and it'll give you the outline of the biblical usage of it. It'll give you its root word, all the info that you need about the word. It gives you the count in the King James Bible, how many times it appears. Strong's definition here. Thayer's Greek lexicon here. Now down here, this is a tool that I use a lot. It gives you every instance of where it appeared in the translation that you're using. Now you can change the translation, but we'll just stick with the King James. And you can see here where it appears every place in the New Testament. Now let's say that you wanted to see how it was used in the Greek Septuagint. So, for example, we'll click right here. It says View OT Results in the LXX Greek Concordance. You click on that. And now it's going to switch over and it's going to give you every instance of where this word appears in the Septuagint, which is very, very helpful. And you can even look up things here and then go over to eSword and look it up in the Brenton or the Apostolic Bible Polyglot and look it up that way. So that is a very useful tool, one that I use quite a bit. And you can do that also with the Greek Septuagint and reverse it and look it up in the New Testament as well. Another Bible software that I use other than Blue Letter Bible is Bible Hub, which I'm sure most people are familiar with. And the main reason that I use this is it gives you a variety of different translations on one particular verse. And this is helpful. I mean, it goes through a bunch, and if you want even more, you can go down here, hit additional, and you can see all the different ones. To be honest, most of these are garbage. Not all of them, but some of them are these newer translations that I really have no use for. But I'll come over here if I want to look up something like the Legacy Standard Bible or the New American Standard. And also they have a handy cross-reference system here that often will pick up and cross-reference verses that I don't have in eSword. Another useful website that I do use is this one here. And this is the Apostolic Bible Polyglot. And you can, you've heard me talk about Charles Vanderpool's work. I've had him on the radio show, and he has a Bible app right here, and you can click on it, and it is all connected to his translation, the Apostolic Bible Polyglot. Now this is really handy because then you can go up here to like Genesis, and you go to 1, and in the Septuagint, in the Greek, you can click on, let's see, I think that's Theo. Now it's not wanting to work. You normally can click on, there it goes. So you can click on these different Greek words. So for example, this is the translated as unseen. There's the Greek word, and it gives you every instance in the Septuagint where it appears. This is something the web Blue Letter Bible, Bible Hub, eSword really doesn't have this exact function. So this is pretty handy. So you can see how this word for light is used all in the Septuagint. Which is pretty handy. So one thing I used the other day for this is, for example, you can go over to Job chapter 1, and I brought this out in a study where in the, let's see, actually no, it is in verse 14. In verse 14 here, let's see, the word messengers here is the Greek word anglos for angels. And I clicked on that and I saw how it has 419 occurrences in the Old Testament in the Greek. And I went through there and looked at how different times how the word anglos is used. And it's not always talking about an angelic being. A lot of times it's talking about a messenger. An earthly man messenger like this one here. That's speaking of a man coming to Job and giving him a message about how his, the team of oxen were plowing and the female donkeys were grazing next to them, and the Sebans fell upon and captured, and so forth and so on. So anyway, that's one useful application to that. So going back to eSword here. That is just some of a real quick video I wanted to do, just showing you how I use some of these tools and use them to study God's Word and learn more and gain as much as I can. And then a lot of things I learn on here, I will write notes down in physical copies, not on the computer always. And I'll write notes in my Bible that, different references to different passages and so forth and so on to help me remember when I'm reading the Bible, or I'm preaching the Bible, or whatever it may be, to help jog my memory of the things that I've already learned. So anyway, thanks for watching. Just wanted to do this quick video on that. So see you next time.